Hello, I'm Troy Baker. I got to play Joel in the video game of The Last of Us, and I'm also the host of The Last of Us podcast. My reaction to seeing the story of Bill and Frank in the show resulted in a lot of tears. If you played the game, you know how that story went. Bill is this curmudgeon, he's this hermit, he's got this gruff exterior, and Frank is really just someone that we talk about. In the show, we got to see what that relationship looked like.
Paying attention to things. It's how we show love. This is my street too. Just let me love it the way I want to.
Something that I think that Neil and Craig did very, very well is putting on display what a long-term loving relationship looks like in literally the midst of hell. It started with strawberries and a lot of tears, and it ended with a bottle of wine and even more tears. You don't have to like someone to respect them. And when we see Bill and Joel sitting down at a lovely luncheon in the middle of the day, the two of them instantly recognize the counterpart in each other. If everything goes down, when the Raiders come, what's the thing that Bill tells Frank to do? Call Joel. At the end of their dinner, Bill turns to Frank and says, "This isn't the tragic suicide at the end of the play. I'm old. I'm satisfied. And you were my purpose." And I think it took those 20 years, and maybe even that day, for Bill to realize that was his purpose. And in the game, Bill says, don't get attached to anybody, because that thing is good for one thing, and that's getting you killed. But in this story, we had the opportunity to show a different side of Bill, and perhaps a different version of Bill, which would say,
I used to hate the world, and I was happy when everyone died. But I was wrong, because there was one person worth saving. That's what I did. I saved him. Then I protected him. That's why men like you and me are here. We have a job to do.
And now that Tess is gone, Joel realizes that his purpose is to protect Ellie. One of my favorite things about doing this podcast with Neil and Craig is that I have the opportunity to ask, just like you're asking me, all the questions that I would love to ask the creators of a show. How did you do this? Why would you do that? And there's always a moment in every episode where I'm not afraid of looking like I didn't know or looking dumb, but they blow my mind with some fact, either about how they made or a choice that originally wasn't in the script. I think I'd have to say pasta, because it's a ritual of my wife and I's. Every Sunday night is pasta night. We make pasta. And if I had to go without pasta, that means that I wouldn't have those Sunday nights. So my strawberries are pasta. True to form with the video game, there have been so many Easter eggs already throughout this show. One of which is actually in episode 3. If you weren't listening closely enough, there's a whole conspiracy about bread and where this virus, this cordyceps virus, started from. And a lot of people thought that it came from bread. And Joel, in a conversation with Ellie, says,
no one knows for sure, but best guess, cordyceps mutated. Some of it got into the food supply, probably a basic ingredient like flour or sugar. There were certain brands of food that were sold everywhere, all across the country, across the world. Bread, cereal, pancake mix.
what were the 2 things that he was supposed to eat on his birthday? Pancakes and cake. And those were the 2 things that he didn't get. Joel's path could have been really, really different. But my favorite Easter egg of all was in episode 2, because my buddy Neil Druckmann got to direct that episode. And if you notice, the lighter that Tess has, as she's trying to light as the clickers are slowly subsuming her, looks exactly like my character Sam in Uncharted 4's lighter. That was a little wink and a nod to not just me, but also this incredible story that the studio Naughty Dog had created in Uncharted, and was also a game that Neil directed. When we were making the game, the locations that we were in was a gray box with maybe some wooden, boxes to serve as a table or a chair or a truck. But when I got to play the game, that's when I got to explore those environments and be in the outskirts or be in Boston. But now seeing it like this, I get to explore places that in the game never existed, like Bill and Frank's neighborhood. So being able to spend time in this world in both familiar and unfamiliar places has been something that I had never anticipated. They split the ticket, but Bill and Frank might be my favorite characters, only because there was this treasure trove of riches that we didn't even know was there. And doing the show gives us the opportunity to really explore that relationship. So, who's my favorite? The answer may change as we go through the series, but as of right now, Bill and Frank have top shelf.